Great.
Good evening, everyone. So, before starting of the session, I request everyone to stand up for the ICI motto.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता
Welcome everyone. In today's scenario, it is compulsory for everyone to be a techno savvy. So I can say techno savvy, especially in Excel, because without Excel, it is not. With Excel, the life become very easier. So today we have CA Abhay Gadia ji to take the session on Power Query on MS Excel. I request CA Jawad to briefly introduce our learned speaker, CA Abhay Gadia ji.
Thank you, Ravi, for giving me opportunity to introduce the speaker of our this 13th virtual meeting on Power Query in MS Excel by Mr. Abhay Gadia. He is an accomplished auditor and data analytics coach, offering 16 plus years of experience of working with Big Four and MNC. He has audited various entities from BFSI, automotive manufacturing, FMCG infrastructure, information technology, and pharmaceutical sector. He has conducted classroom workshops and online courses with regards to analyzing and visualizing the data to extract business stories. His core competencies is auditing internal, external, forensic examination, risk and control assessment, management reporting, data analytics, process automation, conducting training workshops, and he has given various lectures speaker as a speaker at various forums. He is having working experience of with Bank of New York Mellon as an internal audit and data analytics, Deloitte as an external audit for BFSI industry, Pricewaterhouse external audit for various industries, and Deloitte Haskin and Sales internal audits and Sarbanes-Oxley sector. He has conducted various workshops at ICI branch, Pune, Pimpri, Nanded, Akola, HL Karanji, at Pricewaterhouse, Deloitte, and Ernst & Young. He has also provided lectures at udemy.com. With this brief introduction, I request everybody to welcome CA Abhay Gadia ji. And also there is one announcement. We are having practice of providing 500 rupees to CABF fund on behalf of the speakers by BCSC. With this brief introduction, I request CA Abhay Gadia to take over the charge of the session.
Sure. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Jadavasa, for that nice introduction and giving me this opportunity to conduct this Power Query session on MS Excel. So during our brief chat before we started the meeting, I understood there had been sessions on Excel regarding advanced Excel, something related to pivot tables, but not more on the Excel VBA part. And I know many of the people are now using Excel day in, day out. It's like a bread and butter. Other than the income tax or routine practice which we are doing, Excel is the tool which we will use every day. Normally there is a joke during the week we are using MS Excel, and on the weekend it's a Surf Excel. So it's become like that, we are tied up with Excel throughout the week or throughout the life. So yes, Excel is part of our life, and we should be using that tool in much more better way rather than just using it as a calculator. So with that, let me just quickly share my screen and tell you what exactly I'm going to cover up in this today's session, and then we will start up on that. So let me quickly share my screen. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen. So this was just a brief introduction. So I've given the link of my Udemy courses also, but let us quickly start on the topic for the today's session. Just 1 second. So now starting Excel in 2010, so Microsoft came up with certain new tools, which was called as a power tools in Excel. So one was called as Power Query, second was called as Power Pivot, and third one was called as Power View. So eventually after 10 years down the line in 2021, yes, two of the tools have stayed back and some of the tools have got merged into a new tool, which is called as a Power BI. But before that, let us quickly understand what exactly is the nature of these tools, what objective they serve or what purpose they serve, and how to use that as part of our Excel also. The first one, the Power Query. So whenever you perform any data analysis or any audit, or let's say any area where you want to create a dashboard as such, first thing is majorly getting the data from multiple sources, then doing data massaging, cleaning up, making it ready for your data analysis for dashboard purpose. So most of the time, like 30 to 40% of your time will go into that, like cleaning that data. And if it is a month-on-month procedure, then it is like just kind of a mundane job for you. So you will feel that why can't I automate? Why I have to do it every month, every time whenever this new data set comes into play. So by default, till 2010, there was only one option to automate that, and that was through VBA, Excel VBA. You need to write a macros, you need to be a programmer and do that automation part. But being a chartered accountant and coming from a non-programming background, so it becomes a difficult task to learn a new language or a computer language altogether. So people were asking Microsoft, why can't we have something like just a click of a button? Like since we have a user interface now in Excel 2010, the ribbons are there. So why can't we have something similar to do the task which are done by VBA? And that's where this demand was fulfilled by Microsoft, and it is called as Power Query. So all of the automation, most of the automation now you can do it using Power Query. So it will be a data massaging tool automating your regular routine task using Power Query. And this is our focus for this particular 2-hour session. So it will give you a kind of a food for thought or just kind of an introduction to Power Query. Second was Power Pivot. Now, what is Power Pivot exactly? So you would have been using pivot tables earlier in Excel 2003, 7 version or 10 version also. And whenever you have a multiple data set, you might be creating like doing a VLOOKUP, creating one big table and then create a pivot table to perform the analysis. So it is more of kind of bringing the entire data set at one location and then perform the analysis. But however, in the backend, whenever you have a big software, so in that there is a relational database concept where you have a data set stored in multiple tables, and then you create a relationship between those tables. And when you generate a report, the tables are being queried and the final output comes up. So same concept, why can't we have it in Excel also? So instead of doing a VLOOKUP thing, I can create a relationships and then start performing analysis. So that was the objective, or that was the thought process behind bringing this Power Pivot. Now you don't have to do all the VLOOKUPs, that stuff to perform the analysis. That was one thought. And second is the limitation of the rows. So normally in one Excel sheet, you can keep maximum up to 10 lakh rows of data at present. So whenever the data exceeds that, it becomes very difficult to perform that analysis. So how do we mitigate that instead of removing the number of rows or increasing the number of rows in an Excel sheet? So their Power Pivot really helps. So it can handle almost up to 4 GB of data set, more than like 1 billions of rows of data. Yes, there would be certain limitations, but definitely as compared to Excel, it is much more easier and faster to perform the analysis. If you just want to perform the analysis, I'm saying for that purpose, Power Pivot is being useful. You can create relationships, and for Power Pivot, there is also a separate language which is called as DAX formula language. Just like you enter Excel formulas in Excel sheet, you can enter those formulas in pivot tables also. So just imagine like normally in pivot tables, you can't perform formulas other than like sum, count, or something like that at average. More than that also you can do it now in Power Pivot. And finally, it was the Power View. So whenever you go for a board meetings presentation, if you simply show a table, it does not give that kind of an impact to the boards. So they want like something presented in a chart format so that it becomes easier to identify the trends or outliers as such if you prepare a charts properly. So that was the Power View purpose, and they brought like this interactive visualization in Excel. But over a period of time, it took a backseat, and now since there were new softwares into market like Tableau, QuickView, all those were specialized in more of a visualization aspect. So Microsoft brought in a new tool called as Power BI. So it is completely a distinct tool other than Excel, but however, it has roots coming from Excel only. It has all the three tools which Microsoft introduced as part of Excel, like Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View, and those have been clubbed in a single tool called as Power BI. If you learn Excel, Power Query, or Power Pivot, you can easily learn Power BI. So it's like even if you start from Power BI, it can be backward integrated also. So in the current session, we will be focusing only on Power Query as a tool as part of Excel. And same thing, you can use it as a Power BI also. Probably in next future session, we can focus on the Power Pivot or Power View part. So with that, let me move on to the next slide. Now there are little different versions now floating around. Like I know like people are still using Excel 2007 or 3 also, and want to say sorry to them, like you can't use Power Query. So Power Query will be available only on Excel 2010 onwards version. So 10, 13, 16, 2019, as well as like Office 365. If you are using Excel 2010, you need to download it separately and then install it to activate it in your Excel version. After Excel 2013 and 16, it was already integrated and you don't need to do anything. And this is available with all the versions of Excel, not only Pro version, but all the versions of Excel. It's just like the layout would be different in the ribbon. So that's why I've just given a quick snapshot. When you have Excel 2010, it will appear as a separate tab in ribbon. In 13 also, it will be a separate tab. In 16 and 2019 onwards, it has been shifted from a separate tab under the data tab. So wherever you see the data tab, and even the current version, which I'm going to show, it will be under the data tab. However, the features are exactly same. So there won't be any difference in features. It's just the location where it is different and the way it is presented here. So with that, let me move on to the quick layout of Power Query, and then I will start up with the live examples also. How does Power Query looks like? So first of all, Power Query, when you create a query inside of Excel file, it will be stored within the same Excel file. There won't be a new file created for a Power Query. It is not a separate file, the file where you create it. So if I open an Excel file, I create certain queries, certain automation, it will be part of that only. Till the time your file is open, you can view that query. If you close that file, those queries will be closed also. It won't be open if you open another Excel file. So you have to remember that. Otherwise, most of the time people ask me question like where this query gets saved and all that. So it is part of the same file itself. And this is the way the layout looks like. So now at the top here, you can see this is the query editor ribbon. Just like in Excel, you have the ribbon. These are the commands which are available in Power Query. There are a lot of other commands also, which we will see. At the top, you can see there are 4 tabs. And through this, just a click of button, you can perform your automation steps. And this is more of kind of a production line kind of a concept. So when you manufacture let's say a particular vehicle, so from one step, it moves on to the next production stop. It will move on to some person will assemble something, door will be assembled, machine will be assembled, or glass will be put on that particular car, and then it will move on to the next step. So it is a kind of a step-by-step process which happens in Power Query. And those steps will get recorded over here, just like in macro recording also, it gets recorded. But in macro, normally you will perform steps and those will create a macro in the backend. It will record a lot of irrelevant details also. That won't happen with Power Query. Only the steps which you have performed, it will get recorded and it will have your audit trail also. So let us say if your junior or articles perform certain data cleaning activities and later on you want to review it, you can quickly review it from this applied steps also. And those steps will be performed using these options at the top only. So this is a query editor ribbon. On the left hand side here, you can see queries as a pane. In single Excel file, just like you have a multiple Excel sheets, same way you can have a multiple queries inside that Excel file. So whatever number of queries you have created, this will get displayed. And the names of the queries will be displayed over here. Just like you can rename a sheet, you can rename a query also. And you can reference a query, just like in Excel sheet, you can refer a particular cell from another sheet also. Same way you can refer one query to another query also. Then in here, just like in Excel, you have a formula bar. This formula bar in Excel, Power Query is also getting displayed. Don't get bogged down by this long big formula. You don't have to write this formula. It will be automatically written when you click on any of the commands in Query Editor. If you want to edit, definitely you can edit it, but you don't need to write in everything here. Then here it is the results pane. Just like in Excel sheet, you can see the data in Excel rows and columns. Same way it will get displayed over here. However, here only first 999 rows will get displayed from your data set. It means that if you have, let's say, 1 lakh rows of data, it will display first 999 rows only. But when the query is getting processed, it will work on the entire data set, not only in the 1000 rows. Just for your query reference purpose, whenever you want to perform the cleaning, you have to assume that based on these 1000 rows, the next data set is also being displayed or stored like that fashion only. That is the assumption is being made. And that is enough. I have like whatever data set I have cleaned. I think it is more than enough when you have the data set of even first 1000 rows or 999 rows. So that preview pane is being displayed. Then on the right side, as I mentioned, these are the steps it will get recorded. You can edit the particular step. You can delete the steps also. You can add steps in between also. Let's say if something is missed out, you don't have to redo it from the scratch itself. Like in Excel, let's say if you perform any data cleaning, we look up things, then SUMIF formulas, and let's say that you have forgot a step in between. You will have to restart it from the start itself. In Power Query, you don't have to do that. So all that you can do it in Power Query. So there are three stages to Power Query. In technical terms, it is simply called as ETL: extract, transform, and load. So the first step is linking to your data source. So from where you want to bring in the data. So it can connect to multiple data sources. It can connect to CSV file, text file, even the folders also, like your local drive folders also. Whatever files you have stored, you can extract the data from those files. Then access files, website data, a lot of different connections you can build using Power Query. You first tell the Power Query like this is the location from where you want to bring the data. That step is called as extract. Second step is called as a transformation, where you actually perform the data cleaning activities. And here in the transform step, everything happens inside the Power Query. You will record the steps, everything: data cleaning, filtering, grouping, pivoting, unpivoting, everything will be done inside this particular step. And finally, once you perform this particular step, you want to take an output from your Excel, output to your Excel sheets. So once you perform the transformation from Power Query, you can take the output to Excel sheets. You can connect to that only as a source. Let's say if you perform certain queries as in between, you don't want to load the data, you don't want to take an output to Excel sheet, but take that output of a query to another query. So kind of an input output inside the query itself, not to any Excel sheet. So that also is possible through connection only. And now if you don't want to Excel sheet or connection only, you can directly load that data into your pivot tables and start performing your analysis. The last option is called as a data model, which is part of our Power Pivot, so which we may not look it in current way. So now with that, let me quickly go live to our Excel sheet and see how we can import the data inside Excel Power Query from different sources like text file, CSV, and Excel sheets also. One minute. Give me a sec. Okay, so now assume that you have received this kind of a data set from your software or something, or any client or something like that. You have received this data set, and this is in an Excel file, not in a CSV file. So first step is the best practices. I'm telling you, there are a lot of other options also, but first best practice is select your data set, like wherever the entire range of data where it is stored, and press Ctrl T. So what I'm exactly doing by pressing Ctrl T is converting this data into a table format. And once you convert that data into a table format, this alternate color coding of rows will automatically happen up. So, and it means that your data source has been converted into a table. So once you have that, so go to data, and under this data tab, you will see from table and range. Just click on that and your Power Query will open up. So this is the Power Query which got opened up in the same Excel file. In the backend here, you can see this is the Excel file and this is the Power Query window. So where this data gets loaded from that particular Excel table. Now, why you should do Excel table is because, like, let us say there are rows which are getting added later on. It will then automatically get updated into this Power Query. You don't have to then change the reference of that particular table. Just like in pure table, if you hard code any range of cells, you will have to then manually go and extend that range of cells. When you convert that range into a table, you don't have to do it manually. So that has been automatically loaded now in this Power Query. Now, first step we have done linking to a table source, loaded this data, and let us see if I want to perform any transformations. So let's see, like, I want to perform this into a uppercase. I will simply go to transform and format this into a uppercase. So I'm just giving a simple example. What I've done, inventory item names, I've just converted everything into a uppercase, and that step have got added over here on the right side in applied steps. You can see that. Now let us see if I want to perform kind of a profit analysis. So let's say price minus cost. If I want to do it, I can simply select this and then press Control key and select cost. Sequence is important. I can go to add column. Let's say standard subtract. So you can see a new column got added. So all of these steps are getting recorded. Subtraction. I can just double click and rename it. Let's say it's a profit, something like that. I'm just simply giving a simple example over here. And now let us say if I want to perform a, let's say now this is only a single month. So let's not go into that detail. So now I will quickly load this data. I will click close and load. Now you can see when I take a output from Power Query, it is creating a new Excel sheet within the same Excel file. So this new sheet got automatically created. So currently here you can see this profit and this everything got automatically loaded. Even the items, the number of rows are same over here, 42 only. And here also the number of rows are 42. If I count it, this will be 41, including this header row, it will be 42. Now this way I have added over here. Now let us see if I add more data set, I will simply copy it. And then let's say paste it. So then the table range gets automatically updated inside Power Query. Next time I have to simply right click on this query and click refresh. So whatever steps I have performed, it will get automatically done. So uppercase, so the two steps of uppercase and profit calculation, I don't have to redo it. So this is the automation or kind of a macro which you have done without writing a single line of a code, just by clicking the buttons over here. There are multiple different possibilities which you can do using this Power Query. This was the first step of importing the data into Power Query using an Excel file. Now let me show you the another one. Let me close this. I won't save it. Or let's say, let me save it also in this particular folder. Okay, I think I have not saved it. Let it be. I will create a new blank Excel file now. And now this time, if I want to import other files, now here you can see this is comma separated files. This is multiple tables like text files also, like text files. How do I import it? We will quickly see that. And this is also the format for the CSV file. So CSV file here you can see CSV file, it has the top rows. So every time if I get a new file, I don't want to manually remove it or do a text to columns, all that I don't want to do it. So that can be done automatically by an Excel Power Query only. So let's see how I can do it. Let me first copy the path over here. Let us first start up with this text file. Now I will go to data. And now whenever I want to bring the data from an external files. So currently, if you see in previous step, we brought the data from the existing data set, existing sheet only in the same file. When the external file comes into play, go to get data from file and then select the type of file which you are using as a source. So right now I'm using text file or CSV file, either one of them. You can select it, text file, then paste the path where it is located. Let us select text file. You can import JSON data set also, XML file also. That will be done automatically, like cleaning up by Power Query for you. Certain steps would be there, but most of the time automation can be done. So here you can see the data set has been automatically text to columns has been done. I will click transform data, which is the second step I've just told you. First linking to the source, second is transforming. When you click on transform, this Power Query window has got opened. This was the blank Excel file where no data set was there. Now I don't want these two columns. I will simply select them with Control key pressed, right click, remove columns. And here you can see that step got added over here. Now here also, let's say if I want to perform, let's say analysis by day of the week, I can add one more column. Simply go to add column, day, let's say day, name of the day. So there is no formula in Excel where you can quickly get name of the day. Here with a simple click of a button, you are able to get it. Now let us see if I want to perform the analysis on the day wise, let's say sum of the amount. I can simply go to transform, click group by. And here I will say total amount. You can see that I'm simply using mouse and just keyboard just for the purpose of giving names. So just like in pure tables, you have like sum, average, these same options are also there in grouping by. We will see in actual case studies also where it can be used. But here you can quickly see what I'm able to perform. So click sum of amount. So grand total, hold on. Pass the date value. Okay, so this should not be on the date name. This should be on the day name. Okay, sum of the amount. Okay, so let's see like what's the problem here. So at the bottom here, you can see there is one text which is creating a problem. So let me just first open that text file, and at the bottom here you can see there is this grand total which I forgot to remove. So Power Query is really text or data type sensitive. So here in this column or any particular column, you can have the data type of only one type. Here you can see in the transactional date column there was a text grand total. So I want to remove that before I perform the grouping by. So I can simply say remove errors, and it will perform insert a step. So I forgot the step to perform this. So I've just selected this particular step, and I can insert between these both the steps. So which I've just told you, like if you forgot to perform any particular step, you can insert in between also. And if I go to group step, it should perform properly now. So that was the error. It was showing up grand total was appearing under day field, and that's why it was not doing calculation. So let me click close and load to, and this data set has been loaded over here. So if I go and change any of the numbers, or let's say if I copy this data also here, it will perform properly. So you don't have to redo this all of the stuff inside Power Query again. You can simply right click and refresh your query. So this way you can import the text file. Let me not save it. And now let us bring this text or CSV file into an Excel Power Query. So this is the data set. So here also you can see this top row, we will have to remove it. This grand total row also, we will have to remove it. Let us now do that. Let me go to data, get data from file, from text CSV. Let me quickly select this, import. Here you can see your preview of the data set is being displayed. Click on transform. Text to column is automatically performed by Power Query for you. So if it is inbuilt in your data set, it will be done. Otherwise, you will have to do it manually. So we will see that also in later part, how we can perform that text to columns in Power Query also. So as a first step, let's say I want to remove this first row always whenever I import a new data set. So I can simply go click on this remove top rows, the first row, click it. So this row, top row has been removed and this step has been added. Now the first row of data set is our column header. So I want to bring that as a column header. I can simply go to transform and click use first row as a header. This data set is getting headers now from our first row. Now the bottom row, which was related to the grand totals, I want to remove that. I can simply go to remove rows and bottom rows. The last row which I want to remove, I can simply say remove bottom rows. You can do that and automatically it got removed. Now you will ask that sometimes like the number of rows in between will change. Every time it won't be 100 rows. It might happen that there might be a 500 rows, or it might happen that there might be a 50 rows only. So how do I automatically identify that number of rows? So yes, that is also possible, but you will have to learn Power Query a little more. But that automation also can be done using this one. So this number can be automatically determined by Power Query for you based on the data set in between those top and bottom rows. So now that I have the data set over here, let me remove this blank columns I don't want. Now click close and load. And here you can see the data set have been loaded over here. So here you can see there are 2,134 rows are getting displayed. Now, if I go into this file and if I add any more rows, automatically that new data set will also get updated over here. So let me just add these rows over here in between. Let me save this file and close it. Now, currently you can see 2133 rows are displayed. I will right click, refresh the query, and the data set will get updated over here. Now, this way you can import the data set from the CSV file, Excel file, or whatever files you are using it. there are a lot of different options available through which you can import the data. So JSON from folder, we will not see all of them, but you can see a lot of different options are available over here through which you can import the data. Okay, so now we have understood how to bring the data from file. Now imagine that you receive a different file in a next month. This was the file which you have performed the Power Query, everything is fine. And let us say if you receive a similar kind of a file in a next month. So I've just simply created a copy of this file and I want to perform whatever transformation I have done on this file on this new file also. So how do I do that? So in that case, what you would have normally done in Excel, you could have duplicated the sheet. So same way you can do it with Power Query. Just right click, duplicate the query. So what it will do, it will create a new query. Here you can see there are two queries being created. Just like you have a copy mentioned in the file name, here the two is mentioned. This was our original query and this is the new query which has been created. But here you can see this file duplicate will also refer to the original file also. It is exactly copying the step from the original file. So the original query which was referring to this file in the duplicate also, it will refer to the same query. So if I change the reference to a new file, whether it will work? Yes, that's the way you can do it, the changing of the reference. So go to the duplicate file which you have, a duplicate query which you have created. Go to the first step where I said like link to the source, like extract. The first step is like linking to the source. I will click on this gear icon. This will get displayed. Then click on browse and locate the new file which you have created up. So here you can see this is the new file which I have created. I'm assuming that it is having the similar kind of a format. And let us click import and let us click OK. So all of the next step will get automatically performed for you on that new file. And now click and close and load, a new sheet will get created for that new query also. So let us say if I go and delete some of the rows over here in the new file which I've received in the next month. So let us say if I remove this rows, I've just deleted it, save it, close it. Now I can simply come back to this new query, right click, refresh it. You can see all the query has been performed, all the steps have been performed. So you don't have to redo it. And for all of these activities, simple activities, you can see I have not written a single line of code. Everything is using the Power Query ribbon buttons only. So this way you can change the references to the query if you receive a new file. So this way, let me close this. This is the way you can import the text file, tab delimited, CSV or Excel files in Power Query. Now, the next things which we are going to see in this session, let me quickly take you through what exactly I'm going to tell you. And then we will see that the PowerPoint is very less in my presentation. I'm just telling you what we are going to see it. The first option which we are going to see is a split to columns. Most of the times you will be performing a text to columns. So how do I do that? In Excel Power Query, we will quickly see. Here you can see B1, B2 has been splitted. Then filtering the rows, duplicate, identifying the duplicates. In Excel, you can remove the duplicates, but if you want to identify the duplicates, how do we do that? So that option is currently not available in the Excel ribbon. You will have to do a conditional formatting and then filtering it out the duplicate rows. That is a little lengthy procedure, but how do you can do it using Power Query and automate it also, so that next time a new data set comes, you don't have to redo that identifying duplicate rows steps again and again. So grouping of rows we have already seen. We will just quickly see that also in our sample data set. Then in the next phase, I will quickly tell you like appending the data set. So like in GSTR, you receive the monthly data set. So how do I append the data set before I perform the analysis for the entire year? Like I will go and save the monthly file in a single folder itself. So I won't show you the GSTR data. I will take you with the simple example and will show you how you can append the data set automatically. So next time, whenever a new month file comes, you simply go to that particular folder and save that file in that folder. And you simply refresh the query, your data set will get automatically appended. Not only appended, if you have performed groupings, month-wise analysis, party-wise analysis, everything can be automated using that Power Query. And then is the merge join. This is nothing but a different types of VLOOKUP functions. So this might be a little technical as of now, but these are different types of kind of a VLOOKUPs you can perform. So normally you will perform a one-way VLOOKUP or cross lookup on the both the data set. You want to identify only the error values. So all that options are available in Power Query itself, what exactly you want. So that also we will quickly see. And then some case studies also I will quickly show it to you. So let me go to some sample data set, which is here. So this is just a dummy data set for some sales related a particular form. Now here you can see the data set is stored in the table format only. I have to go to data, click from table and range. Since this is coming from the existing file only, I have clicked table and range. Otherwise, I would have used get data options from our data tab. Now let us say first thing, if I want to perform text to columns over here. So how do I do that? Like here shipping address, I want to separate it by comma. So how do I do that? I can simply go to home, split columns, delimiter. The first option I will select. Automatically here you can see Power Query has identified comma. We will see each of these options, but let's say each occurrence of delimiter and then let us click OK. I'm not changing anything, so that you will understand and could relate what is exactly happening, just like you would perform in Excel. So what it has done, it has just split the data set at each of the comma into separate columns only. This is something you can do it in Excel also. So what is the difference in Power Query and Excel? In Excel, once you perform the text to columns, you can't go back and redo it, or you can't change any of the steps. Here in Power Query, if you feel like this is not the way you have to do it, you can simply click on this gear icon. That window will open up. Just a second. So this window will open up, and here you can see there are a lot of other options also available. So leftmost delimiter, what it will do exactly, let us quickly see. I have changed the option and simply clicking OK. And now here you can see only 2 columns have been done. In Excel, this option is not available. You can do a fixed width limiting, but let's say only on the first comma you want to separate. And if there are commas later on, you want to ignore that. That option is not there in Excel text to columns. In Power Query, it is there. So on the leftmost first of the comma, you can change, perform that text to columns also. Now, later on, you feel that, no, I don't want on the first comma. From the right hand side, you want the first comma. You can again go back, change it, rightmost delimiter, click OK. You can perform this analysis. You can change the steps also, and you can see how the data set will look like. If let's say if you feel you don't want to perform this, you can simply click on this cross icon to delete a step. So you can go back to your original data set. However, whenever a step is performed, the next step will take the previous step as output. Just like in production line, whenever the car has like door has assembled, glass has been put up on that particular car, when it moves on to the next step in that production line, you can't say that, okay, I want this glass to be removed so that I can put something else over there. You can't do that. Same thing will happen in Power Query. Undo won't happen. If you delete that particular step, it will impact the next step also. It's a kind of a additional incremental approach in Power Query here, you can say, on your data set, whatever transformation you are doing. So this split text to columns we have seen. So yes, split columns are there, but let's say instead of splitting into multiple columns, I want to split into a rows. So how do I do that? By default, again in Excel, that option is not there. In Power Query, you can do that. So let us click on delimiter, then go to advanced option. And now under advanced option, instead of columns, let us select rows and see how it will look like. So I've not changed anything over here, and let us click OK. So what it has done, instead of columns, it has split the data set into multiple rows. And what it has done for other columns, it has simply duplicated the data set in other columns. So here you can see first 3 rows and columns are same way for other ones. So only the columns which you have selected for splitting, it has got the different data set. Otherwise, all other rows are having the same data set from the previous row. So this option is also useful whenever you want to perform some data cleaning activities. I have used this option as part of our HR leaves data analysis, which I wanted to perform. And this option was not there in Excel, and Power Query really helped me with that. So these split options are there. There are other options are also available. So let me undo it. I won't go into all of these details, but just for your reference purpose, you can have number of character wise, by position wise. lowercase to uppercase. All these multiple options are there through which you can split your data set. So this way you can do the splitting of your data set. So that we have covered. Now, next thing which I wanted to cover was identifying the duplicate rows. So how do I identify? So let us say if I want to identify using two columns only, customer name and product name. I will select with control key pressed, both the columns have been selected. I want to identify the duplicate rows. So how do I do that? I will go to home, keep rows, keep duplicates. You can see these duplicates have been created over here. And let us click close and load to. I will load this data set. Let us give this Power Query a name also, duplicate items. Let me click close and load to. Here you can see this duplicate rows single sheet has been created. But let us say if I want to perform additional analysis also, I can simply right click and duplicate this query. So all the steps from previous query have been created. So now in this query, I don't want to perform duplicates on this. I want to perform a grouping. I want to perform grouping by customer, like how much quantity was sold, which product was sold, and amount was sold. Like that, I want to perform it. Yes, I can do that. I can simply select this two columns on which I want to perform a grouping. I will go to transform, click grouping. So here you can see customer name and product name has been displayed, selected. So total quantity, I would say. Add one more aggregation, total amount. Now here it will be sum of quantity. Here it will be sum of amount. Let us click OK. So this summary has been created. So I will give this query a name, summary. That's press enter and let us load this data set. A new query got created, summary. Now assume that you have received few more rows of data set and you have copied it, or let's say you have added it here. So I will just copy paste and put it over here. Now here you can see the duplicate rows should have been increased. So how do I do that? I don't want to individually go and refresh the queries one by one. I have created multiple queries in this file. So how I can refresh all the query at once? Go to data, click refresh all. So here you can see duplicate rows automatically been identified. This summary also has been automatically updated. So all of these queries, you can multiple data analysis, you can do it. You can multiple data cleaning, you can do it, and simply click refresh all. All the queries will get refreshed for you. Now, if I simply delete this particular steps or data set, again, if I go and refresh the query, these duplicate rows will get automatically removed. See, you don't have to redo it all that step again and again in this Power Query. Now here you can see I have selected the duplicate items only on two columns, customer name and product name. So instead of that, let's say if I want to perform the invoice date also. So how I can do that? I can simply go and delete the step which I perform, and I can simply select the date also. So this time the dates have been stored as a number. So let us convert this into a date. Yes, this will be a data type. Let's say invoice number, invoice date, customer, and I don't want to select a product now this time, and I want to simply select an amount. So let's see how many rows we get it. Click duplicate rows. So here you can see the same number of rows have been applied, but this time the duplicate will be identified all of the columns which you have selected. So invoice date, customer name, and amount. Wherever it is duplicate, those only will get highlighted over here. If anywhere there is a mismatch, it won't get displayed. So otherwise in Excel, you have to first combine these columns using concatenate function or AND formulas, and then you have to identify the duplicates. In Power Query, you don't have to do that. So this way you can perform all the duplicate analysis, summary analysis, everything inside Power Query, and you can automate this stuff. So let me close it. Okay, so next is like, let us say filtering of your data set. So you want to create, let us say customer wise filtering or month wise filtering. So let me first quickly duplicate this query. So I will give this query filtering, filter data. I will remove the steps since I don't want here. And I want to, let's say I will first Let me split the columns at each comma. And I want to keep everything as a Gujarat. So here you can see there is an additional space. So we'll just do a trim function also. Normally in Excel, you will have to write it. I will go to transform, format, trim. So all of this formula will get applied to all the rows and automatically that additional space got removed. And now this time I want to only select, let us say from filtering Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Only these two data sets. So I can give this MP and MH data. This query I have created. So let us say if I want to create one more query for other, I can duplicate it. I can change the filter options over here. Instead of Madhya Pradesh, let us say Karnataka and Kerala over here. Let us click OK and let us change the name Karnataka and Kerala. That's it. So let us click close and load. So new sheets will get created. So this way the filtering options is also there. And whatever steps you perform after filtering, it will be on the previous data set only. Since there are only two rows, I won't go into details. But this way you can perform the filtering. You can create the sheets separate way. And you can simply click on data, refresh all. So all the queries will get updated whenever you have the new data set being uploaded in your existing Excel file or external Excel file also. So with that, let me close it. Probably I will take the questions at the end. So please keep it parked. Next one is appending the data set. Now, let us first quickly start up with the CSV file because that is little easier to explain. So here you can see I have the data set for 5 months. So let me just quickly open it and see how the data set looks like. So the data set here, you can see the transaction date, account, department, and sum of amount. So these 4 columns have been displayed. So let us quickly see, we have the grand total over here being displayed at the bottom. Okay, so this is fine. So let us go and see the next file, how the data set looks like. So here also you can see same 4 columns are there, same heading, identical heading is there. That is one of the important requirement. If you have a different headings, little additional steps have to be done, but I'm assuming that you have the same identical headings. Number of columns can be different, sequence can be different. There is no importance, but the heading has to be same. Even additional space will create a problem. So here also you can see the number of rows are different, but the grand total is there at the bottom. And similar way, the data set has been stored in other 3 files also. Now, every month I receive this file and I want to consolidate this file. I don't want to copy paste again and again every month. So how do I do that? Using Power Query. So let me first copy this folder path. You can store multiple files also here, but I am assuming that you are creating a single folder with a CSV file as a data source. So that will save your time or some additional steps in Power Query. Now this time I will go to data. I want to append it. I will go to from file and then select from folder. I have already copied the path. We'll paste it over here. So whatever files I have stored in this particular folder, I want to append it. Append means one below another. So the number of rows will increase, not the columns. So here you can see all the files stored in that particular folder are getting listed with the metadata, when it was modified, when it was created, all that data has been created. So don't worry about that. So let me click on transform. It will open up this Power Query. Now I don't want other columns. So my data set is stored under this content. So this column contains this file, the content of the data. Rest of the columns are not relevant for me. So I will simply select this column, right click, and I will click remove other columns, not remove. If I click on remove, this column will get removed. I want to keep this column. So that's why I'm saying remove other columns. So other columns got removed, which I don't wanted metadata. Then I will simply click on this double-headed arrow. Click on this, it will take few seconds. So it is showing our sample data set. Let us click OK. And immediately you can see this multiple queries have been created by Power Query for you. And this appended file, entire file has been appended. All the files stored in that data set have been appended and stored over here. So these additional steps have been automatically created by Power Query for you. Some of the steps you would have to still perform it. So let us do that. So these 2 columns I don't want. So if I want to perform all of these steps in all the files, I will go to this transform file, not on this appended file. I will go to this particular step, transform sample. Let us select this, right click, remove columns, not other columns. I want to remove this column. So the first option, I'm removing it. So this is fine. Let us see if I see grand total over here. The list is incomplete. Load more. So this grand total also I don't want. It might create a problem later on. So I'm removing that or filtering it out. So I'm unchecking that data set. Let us go to this, and there might be some error. So don't worry about that. So let us click on this change data type. The last step, it has been removed. So now the data types are really important over here. So as I said, a single column in Power Query or your data set has to be only of one data type. If it is a different data type, it will create a problem. So how do I make sure that it is the proper data type? I can first change it to date. So this is the date data type. Account number can be a text. So I can simply select a text. If I have selected a number and if it was alphanumeric, then it will create a problem and it will show an error. So I'm making sure that it is selected as a text. Department can be alphanumeric, so make it as a text. This number amount, so let us select this as a decimal number. So this has been a decimal number, and let us click close and load to. Let us see if we get any errors. No, so no error have been loaded. And here you can see the number of rows are 10,518 for all those files. So let us say next time or in June month, I receive a new file. So assume that I've received a new file. I've just copied it for the June month. Now I want this file to be appended. So I will simply go to the file which I've created and saved it. I will simply right click this file and click refresh. So just remember that the current rows are 10,518. After I refresh, the number should increase. Here immediately you can see it has become 12,000. Earlier it was 10,518. Now it is 12,764. So new data set has also been appended over here. Now if I remove any of the file over here from this particular folder, so let us see if I remove this file and again come back and refresh it, the number of rows will decrease. So you don't have to redo it again, appending and everything over here. Even let us see if you have done summary of, let's quickly do that. Let us duplicate this query. I will give this query a name, summary by department. Let us take a department wise sum total, and let's say if I want a month wise also. So I can go to add column. I've already identified this one. So I will simply select month name. Name of the month is already there. So department and month. I will go to transform, click group by total of amount. Let us say total amount. Sum of amount. Let us click OK. So this department wise and summary has been created. So I don't want in this format. I want in the top format, just like in PO table, which you can do it also outside this one. So let us click on this, close and load. A new query has been created over here. Here you can see department wise and summary wise. Now you want this to be in a sorted order. You can add that sorting order also. Just double click on this. It will open an editing window. You want to sort it by department name. So you can sort it like 151 is multiple times April. So it is getting displayed over here. So let us click close and load to. This will be in a sorted order. So next time if you get a new data set, currently it is 604, and let's see how much is the total amount. This is 167,497. So if I have added one more month file, I come back and click on refresh all. So this summary should actually keep it the same one. It might be month name might be in, let's see what happens. So the summary file amount has changed, has become 108, and here the number of rows have been changed. So all of this Power Query automation or summary, you can create it appending stuff, you can also append the data set automatically. Whatever summary you have created, that also will get created by Power Query for you. So you don't have to redo it again and again. You can have a party-wise summary. You can identify duplicate items also. You can identify mismatching items also. That Power Query you can create once. Later on, you can simply change the reference and refresh the data source. Let me close this. This way you can append the data. So now next thing was Excel file. So this was CSV file. For Excel, it is a little different way. So I will have to tell it why it is different. So whenever you have a CSV file, you have only single sheet in place. But when you have an Excel file, there can be a multiple sheets. It won't be like only a single sheet data set you want to append it. It can be a multiple sheet data set you want to append it. So how do I do that? Now currently here you can see January 19, it has only single sheet and the same account name, customer department is there. Let us see in another file what I have. So here also it is the same one. So let us first see, like, if there is only a single sheet in multiple files, how do I append it? Let me close this, click on this. Let me copy this path. Go to Excel, blank Excel file which I have created. Go to data, get data from file, from folder. Paste the folder path, click OK. The file stored in that folder is getting displayed. Click transform data. Now here again, as I said, the content is where the data is being stored. Rest of the columns are just like a metadata for those files, which I don't want. So I will simply select this, remove other columns. So now I will have to add one more column over here to extract the data. So in CSV file, I would have simply clicked on this and it was easily appended for me. But when there is an Excel file, you have to do a little additional steps. You need to write a formula for this one. Click on custom column. Then here you have to write Excel dot workbook. This formula. This was double typed. Round bracket, and this is the content, bracket closed. Just click OK, and this data set is been extracted. Now I will click on this and it will show me again the data set inside those Excel file. So let me click on this, and here you can see the data set stored inside each of those Excel file is getting displayed over here. The type of the file or kind of the data set is also displayed. So here you can see sheet. I can't zoom it right now. So I'm just telling like what the data set is here. So the data sheet name is being mentioned here. The kind is mentioned. Within that particular sheet, there is a table called as January under 19, and that table kind is being displayed. So wherever the data set is being identified as a table, I want those to be appended. So if there has been multiple sheets like data sheet, another sheet was, let's say, February 19 in the same file, I would have to then select them manually. So right now I've already identified that as a table. I will select kind table. So here only the data set which is being stored as a table in each of those files is being selected over here. So that step has been added. Now my relevant data is stored in this particular column. Here you can see if I click on this space, it is being stored over here. Same way for this another file. So this is February data. So this is one. I can't directly click on this button when I'm using Excel as a source. CSV file, it's pretty easy. Now the data set which is relevant for me is this one, and I want to identify the month also. So I will click these two columns, right click and remove other columns, so that I'm able to identify from which file the data set is coming. And now I will simply click on this double-headed arrow, click OK, and now my data set has been appended over here. I can change the data types. I can create summary, whatever I want, I can do that. Let us click close and load. And now currently you can see 495 rows have been loaded. And similar is the drill. Like if you receive the data set for next month, you come back to this folder and save it over this folder. I've just copied it. Come to your query, right click, refresh it. So you can see the number of rows have increased. So if I delete, the number of rows will decrease. If you have created additional summary by account wise, department wise, those queries will also get refreshed. So I won't redo it again, but it is the same way which I have shown it for CSV files also. So this way you can append the data set if it is coming from an Excel file. So there would be certain additional steps, removing empty rows, all those steps you can perform it. For the simplicity purpose, I did not go into the complex data set. There would be a lot of data set like where there might be in between blank rows, some header rows are getting repeated. All that thing you can automate it by step wise, and those steps will get automatically performed. Just for the purpose of this webinar, I have took it very simple data set, so that at least for beginners, you will know like what is the power of this Power Query. You don't need to write all the programs, all the programming language for this purpose. So this is with regards to the appending the data set. So let me just now quickly do it on the merging of the data. So this might be relevant for identifying the mismatches between GSTR reconciliations which you are doing up. So let me just hold on different types of gen. I'm just again taking a simple example for simplicity purpose. So now here, assume that you have the data set like this. Here is the products table with product key, category, product name, standard cost. This is the sales order table, or basically a sales table where you have the order date, product which has been sold, category name, ordered quantity, ordered price, and customer key. Now let us say if you simply want to identify what is the profit you have made on a particular product, what is the first thing normally you would do it? You will just do a VLOOKUP over here, bring the cost based on this product key, you will bring the cost information over here, multiply the quantity into cost, order price into order quantity, sale price, do a subtraction and get the profit. So how do I do that similar aspect in Power Query? How do I automate that? In VLOOKUP at a time, like you can do only a single column. If you want to do a multiple columns, you have to first concatenate both the columns and then do a combination. In Power Query, at a single go itself, you can use multiple columns, not only two columns. I'm saying multiple columns you can do it. So let us first quickly understand with a single column. Let me first identify the duplicate values over here. Go to home and let me highlight the duplicate values. Let us click OK. So here you can see some of the products which have not been sold, like 300. That's why it is not highlighted as a duplicate number. All the highlighted ones are duplicated or which has been sold. 428, even though it is sold, in real world it may not happen. But in this hypothetical example, I don't have the cost information for 428. So this 129 also, it's not there. So for that, I won't get the cost information. It is more of kind of a NA errors which you will get in a Power Query. Sorry, in VLOOKUP, not in Power Query. Power Query, it will be a null values. So what is the first step to do this VLOOKUP in Power Query? First, I need to load the data set. So let me first click from table and range. The products table have been loaded. And now this time, I don't want to load back this data to Excel sheet because that data set is already there. So I want to just create a connection. So I will select close and load to and only create a connection. Let us click OK. Because if I click close and load, it would have created a new sheet with the same table, which I don't want. I want to use that table in another queries. So I've created a connection only. Same way I will do it for sales table. From table and range, I've loaded the data. I'm not performing any transformations right now. Click close and load to only create a connection. So here you can see both the tables have been loaded over here. Now, what I will do as a first step in Excel, do a VLOOKUP on the sales table. So now in Power Query, I will also do the similar step. I will go to combine queries under get data, click merge. Append we have already seen. Click on merge. Then first is the sales table from the drop down. So this is the first table where I am performing the VLOOKUP. Then select the products table. Now how I will perform a VLOOKUP using a product key as a first step. I will select first product key here as well. Let us not go into the other options right now. I will explain you one by one. But keep the default option is a left outer, which is exactly identical to your VLOOKUP. So what basically it will do, it will do a VLOOKUP on this sales table, bring the information from the product table in the additional column. So let us click OK. And here you can see the additional data set is being displayed. So now in VLOOKUP at a time, you can bring the information only from a single column. So either you can bring the cost price, either you can bring the quantity or whatever it may be. Only a single column can come in from another table. But in Power Query, you can have all the columns. So if I click here, you can see all the columns from that product cost table are getting displayed. So if I click OK, so all the columns will get displayed which are matching to that product key. So here you can see that this 428 was not there in the product table. That's why it is showing null. In Excel VLOOKUP, it would have shown an error. In Power Query, it is simply mentioned as null. And here you can bring all the columns from that cost table. But those columns are not relevant for you. You just want to bring the standard cost column. Okay, you just go to this gear icon, uncheck the columns which you don't want, click OK. Your additional column is getting displayed over here. So now let me just give this name left outer join. This query which you have selected the option left outer join. So I can simply perform standard cost multiplication, go to add columns, click multiply. This data set has been multiplied. Order quantity, let me give this column a name, cost. Okay. Now order quantity into order price, multiply. This will be a sales. Here you can see I'm not even writing the formulas. Normally in Excel, in each of the cell, you will have to write a formula, copy paste. I'm selecting the columns and I'm just selecting the mathematical operations which I need to perform. For each of the row, it will be the same operation will get performed automatically, which normally you would have done in Excel. So now I will simply say sales minus cost. Sequence is important. First, I have selected sales and then selected a cost. Otherwise, it would have given a negative also like this. So subtract. This is the profit. That's it. So wherever the cost has been identified or wherever that product key was there, it has been displayed over here. So let me click close and load. A new sheet will get displayed over here. So now this profit, that formatting, other stuff, you can do it later on. So I just showed you the first option, which was exactly identical to performing a VLOOKUP. Now let me go back to my PPT and explain you the different options and then how does it exactly looks like. So the first option which we have seen is the left outer join. So imagine that these two circles represent your two different data set. So imagine that this was our sales data and this was our product cost data. So when I perform a VLOOKUP, I will bring the information from the product cost to sales table. So now all the data set in sales table I want in the output, and wherever the matching data is there, only that data set should come from our products table. If there are any additional products which have not been sold, I don't want cost information for that. So that's why this region in this particular circle is not been highlighted in green. So here you can see everything from sales table or left table will come with the matching rows. So this is a left outer join. Now exactly opposite, if you want to do it, like if you want to identify sales for the products costing, you can do a right outer join. Full outer join is like data set coming from both the tables. So all of these options are there. It's kind of doing a cross VLOOKUP stuff in both the data set. So let us quickly do it and see how it looks like. So this time I will just duplicate this query. Let us first do it a full outer join so it becomes little clear. Now I will remove the steps. Some of the steps will rename a column, insert subtraction. This one I don't want to do it. I think let's keep it. Let me delete it. Let's keep it so that it becomes easier to compare. Just duplicate it. This will be full outer join. Now I will be just changing some of the steps over here. The first one is a source. Now here you can see the source was this products and sales table, it was not any external data source. I will click on this gear icon. It will show me that merge window over here. Now from this join kind, I just quickly told you, I will select full outer join and let us click OK. So now in the next step, you can see the output. So here the data set from both the tables is getting displayed. So wherever is the matching, the data set will get displayed over there. Wherever it is not matching, it will display null values. Now, since we have selected only the standard cost, it is showing only that standard cost column from products table. For the time being now, I will select all the columns over here and let us see how it looks like. So here you can see that these products are there in the product cost table, but those have not been sold. So that's why it is showing null values over here. And same way for sales table, wherever the quantity is sold, but the cost information is not there, it is showing as a null value over here. And rest of the stuff is automatically performed for me. I'm not changing anything. I've just changed the source and expanded one. So let me click close and load and let's see how does it looks like. So in Excel sheet, here you can see that this is the way it will look like as an output. So this will be a blank rows over here. There won't be any error. It will be just a blank row. So here there was no matching one. So that's why it was getting displayed 0. So not sure why 7360 is coming over here. Let me quickly see that. Okay, so this is the sales quantity. So 7360, obviously it will come because it is coming from our sales table, which is order quantity into order price. That's why the sales is getting displayed. Now, since there is no cost, so sales minus cost. So null means basically it doesn't mean it is an error or 0 value. It means I don't really know what should I really subtract from 7360. That itself is not known to Power Query, and that's why the profit is also unknown. And that's why it is showing as null value in the profit also. Null basically means the information is not known. It doesn't mean that it is 0 or something else. It is simply unknown. So if you subtract 7360 unknown from 7360, it means the result will be unknown only. If you want to change null values to 0, you can do that using a replace option also. So that as of now, we won't go into that details, but this way you can change the one. So let us say if you want to do it other way around also. So if I want to see like right outer join, I can simply do that. Click on duplicate, go to source and click on right outer join. So this will be like, let us say something is there in our books, not in the website, and something is there in website and not in our books. So all of these options can be done over here using this option matching stuff. So product key, now here it is only the single column which we have done. So this is right outer join. Click close and load. So all of these options, whatever you want to do a matching stuff, so you can do it using Power Query. Right now you can see I have used only single column product key for matching purpose, for VLOOKUP purpose in Power Query. Now instead of that, I want to use category column also. So let us quickly identify which duplicate values are there. Go to home, insert, highlight the you don't have to do it this duplicate. I'm just doing it to explain you guys. You don't have to do this identifying the duplicate. So now here you can see 582, even though the product key is duplicate or kind of sold also, however the category name is different. So road 350-W-differ. So these category names are different for 582 and 377. So whenever we are trying to do a matchup using both the columns, it will not match these two rows over here. Just like in VLOOKUP, if you combine this, do a concatenate, and then you perform a VLOOKUP, this will not throw any values from the cost. Same way will happen in Power Query also. So here, let's see 582. Let us see in the first option. This was the left outer join. Let me click on query. So this was the left outer join, and under 582, let's see where it is, 582. So here you can see we have got the profit values, and even for the 377. Now, whenever we are going to perform a VLOOKUP or using two columns as a join, it will not show any values over here. So let me quickly go to this left outer join. Go to source, click on source gear icon. That merge window will get displayed. And now I want to perform using two columns. So select product key first here, then click control and then click on category. The sequence is important. The sequence in which you have selected the column is important, because in the backend in memory, it will combine the values in both the column in the same sequence. So product key you have selected first and category key you have selected second. In same sequence, you will have to do it in products cost table also. So product key, category. So here also you can see 1 and 2 is getting displayed, and left outer join. Here you can see the number of rows have been decreased. So let me click OK. And if I go to the final output column, you can see 582. Let us click close and load. So it is refreshing the data set. Number of rows are same. However, let's say 582 here, you can see the profit is not getting displayed even for 377, because we have done a matching on the both the columns over here. So that's why it didn't get the information combining both the columns. Similar thing, it will happen for full outer join. So currently, if you see, these are 20 rows. So if I do a matching based on the both the columns, so the number of matches will decrease and mismatches will increase. So the number of rows will increase. So currently there are 20 rows. If I do it same way over here, let us click OK. I'm not changing anything over here. Click close and load to. Number of rows will become 22 approximately, because 2 or yes. So here you can see 377 and 582 is getting displayed. No sales value, only in the product cost. Same way for 582 over here, there is no cost information because this category differs over here. So you can do multiple types of joining using Power Query. So this is the way you can perform it. Okay, so I think let me close it. I can take some questions over here, and if time permits, probably I can take one more case studies or something. So open for questions, guys, now. So Ravi, like, can we take it now?
Yes, sir, we can take it now.
Okay.
Till now, there are only two questions are there. All the
Okay.
participants are requested to raise, if you have any question, you can raise the question on question and answer only. So first one was just to note that as experience, Office Excel is consuming more RAM than Open Excel. So whether it is advisable to switch over to Open Excel?
Okay. So see, like, I'm actually not getting it. So probably it might be because of RAM issue. So you will have to increase your RAM. Excel, obviously, there has inherent limitation to Excel. If you load a lot of data set in Excel sheet, it will get hang. But obviously, you will have to increase your RAM. Okay.
Second was just
Please provide
what
fulls
of the Excel sheet token.
Okay.
Say for example, I have customer outstanding report against which I have added some comment. Again, after a week, I have customer outstanding data and I want to merge the same with the previous data, but want to remove duplicate bill reference row in later data, which don't have comment, but want to keep the earlier data which have the command.
Okay, so first of all, you will have to do a merge. Like you can do a bill reference merging based on the customer and the bill reference bill date, just like the way we have joined the data set. You can merge it, and wherever you don't have the comments, you can filter it out. Wherever you have added the comments, you can remove those items, and you can just keep the blank rows only. So it will keep it like that. So you have to just simply refresh it. So I think the next is the Power BI is there with Excel. So no, so Power BI is a separate software altogether, as I said initially. So it is freely available currently, Power BI desktop version,
Oh, no,
but it is a separate software altogether. Okay, so next question is, can sales register from Tally be converted into format of GST R1 using Power Query? See, like definitely Tally ODBC connections you can build in using Power Query. There are options available. Right now, I don't have the Tally options or Tally installed on this PC. So you can connect to that ODBC server, and all the steps, whatever cleaning is required, Power Query can do it for you. Next time you have to just simply refresh it. It can be created. Okay, so next is while using Power Query, Audrey sample file is showing only 10 rows, appending 10 rows from each file. Himal, I couldn't get your question, so probably you can just repost it a little elaborate way. If the data contains spaces and the header row, how can we merge that data? So as I said, Samir, like first step when you are appending the data set, the column names have to be identical. Even if there is an additional space, the first option is either make it identical in the source thing itself, manually going and changing in the CSV file or Excel file itself. Otherwise, you will have to perform a little additional steps. Maybe that as of now for this current beginner session, it may not be possible to explain exactly, but that can also be done. You can address that in Power Query by building some additional tables. So that can be done. Okay. So guys, any more questions on this? Okay. So
We can take one more sample or study.
Only 10 rows are only getting appended. See, Himal, actually, I'm not getting your query, which file you are using, because I have not shared any files with the participants. So Power Query sample file is showing only 10 rows, appended 10 rows from each file. So see, we haven't appended right now. We have done the merging one. So merging it, since in the original file, this file, it was only those many rows wherever the matching has happened, those data set will get displayed. In appending, it will increase the number of rows. Okay, I think there is a request to repeat the merge query. No problems. So let me, I think I can start it from scratch. So first step, you load the data into Power Query, click on from table, merge. I've loaded this products table. I will click close and load to connection only. Since I don't want to create a new sheet for products cost table, I will create connection only. Next is like I'm going to load the sales order table. This has been loaded over here. I will create a close and load to connection only. So let us wait. Click OK. So both the tables have been loaded in Power Query memory only. Now I want to merge this data. I will go to data, get data, combine queries, merge. Then click sales table where I want to perform a VLOOKUP. So I've selected first as a sales, then products. Now product key I have selected in sales table, here also product key. Now I want to perform a VLOOKUP here. So that's why I've selected left outer join and click OK. It will open the Power Query editor window. Now let us click on this, uncheck this. If you want all the columns, you can click it, all the columns. Now just to answer, I think the comments customer data related question, something similar you can do it. So here when you perform that merging in Power, this customer data, you can select only the null values. So it will show only the rows where there is no comments, and you can close and load to that. And later on you can simply refresh your query. So it will show only those data set where the comments were not there. So right now I've loaded this data set for all the product cost table. I don't want all the columns, so I will just simply select standard cost. Later on, it's just a multiplication and subtraction, which you have to do it. I won't redo it. I think it is pretty clear. So I will simply click close and load. Just wait for a few minutes, few seconds actually. So here you can see 14 rows have been displayed. So this was the left outer join. So if I double click, if I want to perform a full outer join, the number of rows is, I think Himal, I think your query was here the number of rows are only less. So as I said, what option you choose based on which the output will come. If you're choosing the left outer join, all the number of rows which are there in the left outer join will get displayed. So if there are matching rows in another table, it will get displayed in final output. So here you can see, currently here you can see there are only 14 rows. So here the number of rows will be 14 only, since I've used the left outer join. If I had used right outer join, here you can see these are 12 rows. So in right outer join only, it will show 12 rows only. So based on the options which you are using, it will display the final output. Since I've used left outer join, sales table at the top was a left table. So that's why the final output is also showing the 14 rows. Now let me click on full outer join. I will give this name full outer. Let us change this to a source instead of this one. We'll make it full outer. Let us click OK. In expanded, let us click all columns and let us click OK. And let me explain on this. So it is taking time. Give some few seconds. So currently here you can see these are the 20 rows which have been loaded. So how the 20 number has arrived at. So here you can see we have some duplicate items over here. So let me first identify. So here you can see this is 14 items. So here there are 12 items. So in a way it should display 26 items. No, it won't display 26 items because here you can see this 6 items are matching. So those 6 items will get data set against those particular rows only. So in a way, those duplicate items are not getting repeated. The match, wherever there is no match, those are getting separated in a separate rows. And currently we have used only a single column. So that's why it was showing only 20 rows. If I use additional column as a category, it will increase the number of rows because mismatches will increase. In that way, it can do a full outer join. So based on the selections which you have done, it will display the number of rows. So if you have done a full outer join, all the rows from both the table will get displayed. If you show the left outer join, the number of rows will be same, which is coming in your left table. If you do a left anti join, wherever the matching rows are not there. So here, if you see in this sales table, this does not have a matching row. So if you want to identify the N error, you can do that. So let me show that also. So if I click on this left anti join, so the number of rows here you can see only the rows wherever there is no matching rows are getting displayed. So now if you want to see only the matching rows, you don't want to display the null values. So the way like in the backend, we are even able to see null values. I don't want that. Only the matching ones I want. I can do that. I can go to map and here only the inner one, which is nothing but full inner join. Only the matching from both the tables will get displayed in the final output. Let us click OK. And here you can see only the 9 rows are getting displayed. So let me click close and load. Probably like this is the thing which you were referring to. So here you can see that number of rows are 10 only. If you select inner join, it will display only the matching rows. If something is not matching in sales table, it won't display, and even from the products table. That is the option which I have chosen for inner join. Right now the query name is not changed, but it is the inner join. That's why the rows are 10 only. Okay. So I've answered that. I think the next question, will you be sending us instruction presentation showing step-by-step ways? See, like this instructions probably I'm not able to send it. Probably you can look it on my YouTube channels or other YouTube channels also. There are a lot of videos. If you want to enroll into trainings, there are trainings which I have available on Udemy also. So step-by-step instructions are not as part of this webinar. Okay, Hemal, I think I have answered your question. Please recommend minimum required RAM to work fast with Power Query. See, basically I would recommend RAM at least 16 GB and processor should be i7 or i5 onwards, not i3. It will help you to perform this Power Query in much better way. And try to load very less or let's say the data set which is really relevant for you. If there are additional columns in the backend, just remove them. Otherwise Power Query will also hang. So that is an inherent limitation of Excel only. Since it is built on Excel, it is a limitation. If you start using Power Query as part of Power BI, that will be a little faster compared to Power Query in Excel. So 16 GB is basically I would recommend, or above than that. Can you demonstrate how to write formulas in additional column to get the desired results? For example, if S formula. Good question. So probably I will just take a simple example. Let me close this. Just give me a second.
Abhay sir, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry, guys. I think while drinking water, I've just kept it on mute. So, okay. So I've just simply clicked on the split options over here. So I hope you guys are able to follow it. The steps which I want to perform it, the product name, let us say if it is a cycle or something else, I want to display a different value. And if it is a bike, I want to simply display only bike. I don't want to display entire thing, sports bike, motorbike. I don't want to display like that. So how do I write if formulas? So go to add column, conditional column is the option over here. And this window will get displayed. So new column or name of the column, you just mention it over here. Let us start with the column product name. Operators, instead of that, I will say contains bike. It will go and check in each of the row wherever there is bike word is mentioned, and this is case sensitive. So if you write like this small letter bike, it won't work. So it will be a case sensitive. So make sure that you are writing in proper case whatever you want to identify. So if the condition which I'm mentioning it here, product name contains bike, I want to display only bike. And if it is not, if there is something else, I want to display the existing values only. So I will select column, I will select product name. Let us click OK. So here you can see I have simply written a very simple formula, if formula inside this Power Query. So let us see if I want to combine a little more complexity. So let me go into conditional column. I will add a clause. So right now, if you see, this is only a single column condition. I've checked it. Now, instead of that, let us say, I will say state contains or equals to, let's say if it equals to Kerala, the first option I would say Kerala, I simply want KER. The sequence, it will be like first it will identify if it is a bike, then it will go on to the next sequence. If wherever it finds Kerala, it will show KER, and if both the conditions are not satisfied or not true, then it will display the existing ones cycles. Okay, and here you can see the first row KER is getting displayed. So the way in sequence in which you have put up the conditions over here, it will be evaluated in that way. So the first condition is checked, and this will be else if condition or condition. So what basically you are doing, or condition you are testing, if it is a product name is bike or the state name is Kerala, you display me this, else display me the existing ones. So this way you can write the formulas over here. So if you want to go a little more, let's say something more complex, it can't be done using this add conditional column. You will have to do it using custom column, and in that way you will have to write formulas over here. So there are, again, as I said, there are certain limitations to Power Query. Here you will have to write formulas if you go into a little more complex stuff. So I will simply start if, let us say, product name equals to cycle. Just like in Excel, you will write formulas. I'm starting with if. So this formula is also case sensitive, and I'm not going to use round brackets open over here for this if formula. So if product cycle is, product name is equal to cycle, I will use and condition. Then let us say state equals to Kerala. Then display me others, or let us say check. This is something you want to check it as a kind of auditing using city and Kerala, cycle and Kerala. Else display me ignore this word. So this way you will write the formula. So starting with small letter if product name, you can have the and or condition also here. You have to write in plain English. So let us click OK. A new column get added. So here you can see check, everything ignored. So even if I make it or instead of and, you can see check might get displayed here also. Since it is a cycle, even though Maharashtra and Rajasthan is there, it is check. So there are two options, conditional column and writing using custom column. Under custom column, you have to use this particular formula syntax for Power Query. So there are a lot of additional formulas inside Power Query which you can write, and it has its own language, little bit matching with the Excel language only, Excel formula language, but it has its own language. You can't write something in Excel sheet and it will get displayed in Power Query. It won't happen that. You have to write formulas inside Power Query only. Okay. So name of your YouTube channel, just you can search with gadiabhay.ca. It's the same YouTube channel. You can search my name in YouTube. On Udemy also you can search with my name. How to get the state name from GST and number. Okay, so that sample data set probably I don't have right now, but you will have to decide certain categories, like let's say first few alphabets or after few alphabets, all that you can do it. Like just like we have done the split columns, here you can define in split columns by number of characters also. So instead of like, let's say here in split columns, there are different options available by delimiter, number of delimiters, position wise, just like mid function you would use in Excel. So those formulas are also available over here, like extract first character. So those range of character, those things you can do it inside Power Query. But you will have to write those formulas because by default, Power Query won't be able to identify the logic. You will have to tell Power Query that logic using writing the formulas, using add custom columns or using the options available over here. Okay. So any more questions, guys? Probably I will just quickly take last case study and then we can just stop over here. Close this. Okay, from where you can get the formula syntax. So let me just quickly open it. So if you want to identify, let me just open a blank query first of all. A blank query, I will just open it. So if you go to blank query, you type under this formula bar, hash mark and word shared and press enter. So all the formulas in Power Query will get displayed. This is more of kind of a help file. Click on table options and whatever the formula you want to see, you can select that and see it. Let us say date related formula. So let us say date add days. So this formula is also available on Google. You search it, Power Query language, or inside Power Query, you can see it. Syntax also here you can see the date.add days. All this syntax help file is getting displayed. You can search inside Power Query or even on the website also. So these all syntax are displayed. And formula auto update option is also now available in Power Query. You don't have to even every time remember it. Once you start typing the formula, automatically that help will also get displayed.
वो कर लो yearly वाला, वो ज़्यादा अच्छा better रहेगा
Okay. Guys, can you put yourself on mute?
कुछ भी बोल देना 3 लाख रुपए साल का बोल दे
Okay, so I think let us quickly go to one last case study, a simple one, payroll analysis. Okay, so here you can see I have a simple data set or a payroll register for the 12 months. And here you can see name of the employee, designation, category. So what is the component of that payroll is being displayed, and month-wise data set is being displayed. So now if I try to create a pivot table out of this, I can't perform the analysis because here you can see this is blank. This is also blank. And this data set is being stored in multiple columns. So if I want to perform month-wise analysis, I have to manually drop and create the table. So basically I can't perform the data analysis on this data set. I have to first fill in this, and it will take hell lot of time to perform this using manual approaches. So using Power Query, how I can quickly transform this data set, something like this, and then I can create a pivot table and I can perform the analysis. How can I quickly do this? So I will just quickly show you without writing a line of a code. So first select the data, you know the drill now. First select the data, you can convert this data set into a table, or you can even name this range of data set like under this name box. So I have already given this payroll data. So once you have given a name over here, go to data from table and range. Your data set will get loaded into your Power Query. So here you can see the data set is being loaded properly. Now I want to simply fill the data Akash till 15 row. I don't want to overwrite Aarti because this is the new employee data. So again, Aarti should be filled till here 30th row and stop at 31 row. So like that, I want to fill it. So how do I do that? I will simply go to transform, click fill down. I'm simply clicking the button. I don't need to write any formulas. Immediately you can see that fill down option is there. Same way I will do it for designation, fill down. Now this null rows no longer required. I can simply remove this null row. No longer required. Now this multiple columns I don't want for months. I want a single column for a month and the amount. That way it is better way to perform the analysis in pivot table. Otherwise it will be very difficult to perform analysis in this format. So I will simply select this column using control key, right click, unpivot the columns, and see the moment I click on not on this one. Select this 3 columns, right click, unpivot other columns. So here you can see this is the month column which got created. And this is the amount under those respective column. So basically for multiple multiple columns, now it has got displayed into multiple rows. Now if I click close and load, and then I can start performing analysis using pivot table. I can perform the analysis. Let us create a pivot table out of this. Yes, this one. And now I can quickly perform the analysis designation wise, amount, category. The way you want, you can do it. Like whatever way you want to perform analysis, you can do it very quickly. So here you can see I have not written a single line of code to perform this data set into this way. Otherwise, normally in Excel, you will have to do it manual, lot of things, write formulas, if filtering, all that task you will have to do it. And it is like repetitive automatically. So even if let's say if I add some data set over here, or if I change something in my data set, I can simply refresh the query. So right now I have simply changed. Let us see if I add one more data set over here. Let us give Abhay. Now, since I've given this range of sales a name, I will have to change that reference because I did not convert that into a table. So that's why I've initially told you to convert the data set into a table format. Now, since I've given a name, I have to change the reference to that particular name. So let us first identify the last row. This is 3466. So go to formulas, name manager, payroll data, and this is 346 is 3451. Just change it 3466. Let us click close. Once you do that, yes, save it. Come back to your this one. Currently 35133 rows are there. Right click, refresh it, and let us see the number of rows should increase. So you can see 269, 113 became 269. So, and even if you come to this one, the current total, let us say the grand total over here is this 447. If you click on refresh all, even the pivot table will get refreshed. Here you can see the data set have changed. So you don't have to redo this all this stuff in Power Query if you automate this using Power Query. So I guess I think that's it from my side, guys. So can you please repeat the last payroll column to rows function again, but slowly? Okay, guys, no problem. So let me delete this. Let me delete this one also. Okay, so first step is loading the data. Select the data set, already given the name from table range. Now let me click on this transform fill down, this data set fill down, same way for designation, fill down. Now I don't want this null rows because there is no data set. So I will simply uncheck this and remove the blank rows basically. Now I have select this 3 columns using control key, then right click on any of the columns and click unpivot other columns. So this is the option which you were mentioning. So here you can see unpivot other columns. Now you can simply rename it month, amount, load, and start performing your pivot table analysis. So it was simply clicking right click and unpivot other columns. So I hope I have answered your question. So let me know, guys, if you have any more questions, or probably then over to Borivali branch CP members like management, like Ravi and Javad Shah. So I will stop sharing from my side now. Okay, what is exactly the function of unpivot other column? So as you have seen on the screen, the column headers have been converted into rows and respective values have been displayed in a separate column. So basically, if you pivot it, like if you have pivoted it, it would have come in the column headers. So instead of that, when you create a pivot table, the data set has to be in a denormalized format. The way, so basically, like, let me quickly share the screen. Just give me a second. So I hope you are able to see my screen. So right now, before I perform that unpivot step, you can see the month names were coming in column headers. So I don't want this, because when I create a pivot table, this format will create a problem. It won't be able to identify or perform analysis properly. So instead of that, all the column headers should get converted into multiple rows, and whatever the respective value is against that, it should get displayed like that. So here you can see May column, which was coming in column headers, has been converted over here, and corresponding value for basic in May is getting displayed in 3530. Same way for HRA, which was earlier displayed under May column. Here you can see under May column, it was displayed in separate column. So now it get converted here. So now here, since it is only a single month, but for other employees here, if you see, multiple rows have been created over here for each of the month and for each of the category like that. So once you start using it, probably like you will get hang of it. For the first timer, it is like little difficult to visualize, but it is something like you will have to denormalize this particular table. Okay. So any suggestions of book or material to understand Power Query function or formula in depth? Yes, definitely. There is my course, as I've initially told, on Udemy. You can search for me. There are books available. You can search on Amazon also with Power Query. So a lot of courses, lot of YouTube channels are there. You can look into that. So, okay. Thanks, Chintan. Thanks a lot for appreciation. So any other question, guys? So this is just to give you a food for thought. Like, I don't want it to go into a lot of complexities for Power Query. Just to give a heads up, like this is something which is now possible in Excel for non-programmers also. You don't need to write programs to automate your things.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Jawad bhai to kindly give him a vote of thanks, formally vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ravi. It is my great privilege and honor to propose heartily vote of thanks to our learned speaker of this session, CA Abhay Gadia ji. He has practically explained the power query in Excel, how to utilize it in the best possible way in our day-to-day functions. So which can help us to save our time, because Excel now we are day-to-day, our most of the time is spent on the using the features of Excel, and basically as a professionals we are not good in Excel right now. So this help us in saving our lots of time. Thank you very much, sir. And now I request all the members to give loud of applause to CA Abhay Gadia ji. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Javed sir. Thanks, Ravi, for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Really glad.